At least one checking or savings account was held by 94.6% of U.S. households, 124.2 million people, and 72.5% had a bank credit card or personal loan. Understanding how banks operate is crucial because they play such a significant role in our lives and help us make better financial decisions. Unfortunately, there are some things that banks want you to be unaware of, such as how using a low-interest savings account or paying hidden fees may make it more difficult for your money to grow. In this video, we will discuss 14 secrets that banks don't want you to know. Before we start, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon to be notified of future uploads. Number 1. Credit unions may offer better rates on loans. Due to their nonprofit status, credit unions frequently have lower operating expenses. As a result, they can pass on the savings to consumers in the form of lower interest rates on credit cards, loans, and mortgages. Although it's always a good idea to compare multiple lenders when applying for a loan or mortgage, credit unions might also have lower account fees. Number 2. Depositing a bad check could result in financial loss. You might experience a lot of headaches and unforeseen costs if you deposit a check that is returned for insufficient funds. If you used any of the deposit that was returned, you'll likely be required to pay it back along with overdraft fees if your account goes into an overdraft. Despite the fact that there are methods to avoid paying overdraft fees, some banks also charge you a return check fee when you deposit a bad check. Number 3. When using an ATM, you should save your receipt. Since ATM receipts are often discarded as scrap paper or end up crumpled at the bottom of bags, many people opt not to receive them. Keeping your ATM receipts is a good idea, at least until you've confirmed the transaction has been posted and is accurate. If a mistake is made by the bank or the ATM gives you the incorrect amount of money, you will have documentation of your transaction and will be able to request a correction from the bank. Number 4. You don't have to opt in to overdraft protection. With overdraft protection, even if there isn't enough money in your account, your transactions will still be processed. However, there are frequently high fees associated with the service, up to $35 per instance. Additionally, you might incur multiple overdraft fees each day. To know if you're on the verge of going over budget, it's a good idea to set up text or email bank alerts. Several large banks, including Bank of America and Capital One, have declared that they will either cut back on or do away with overdraft fees. Number 5. You may be liable for fraudulent transactions. Federal law says you are protected against charges made without your permission if you report a lost or stolen credit card and before someone else uses it. However, if you report the card after fraudulent charges are made, you might be on the hook for at least some of the money taken. You might be liable for up to $50 of the transaction if you don't report your card lost or stolen for up to 2 business days. You risk losing up to $500 if you wait longer than 2 days, or up to 60 calendar days after your statement is sent to you. Make sure to frequently, if not daily, check your accounts and report any fraudulent charges or stolen cards right away. Number 6. Deposits aren't always available right away. How long it takes to deposit a check varies depending on the bank or credit union. Banks are required by federal law to release funds in a reasonable amount of time. For deposits over $5,000 or those made at a third-party bank or ATM, this could take up to 2 days or even longer. Deposits made via mobile apps rather than at an ATM or nearby branch might also be subject to a different timetable from that of the bank. Check your bank's policy so you don't unintentionally bounce a check or incur overdraft fees. Number 7. Savings account rates can change overnight. An institution's savings account annual percentage yield, APY, is flexible and subject to change at any time, even overnight. Rates for savings accounts are determined by the federal funds rate, which is the amount that banks overnight lend or borrow from one another to satisfy Federal Reserve requirements. These rates frequently change according to how the economy is expanding or contracting. Look around for high-yield savings accounts, which are typically offered by online banks, if you want to get the most interest on your short-term investments. Number 8. Paying off a loan early may cost you more. As you learn how to manage your money, you might think it's a good idea to pay off your loan when you have some extra cash. While paying off a credit card early may help your credit, doing so may result in your lender charging you an early payoff fee if you do so with an auto loan or personal loan. Your history of timely payments will be reduced if you pay off a loan before its due date. You might be losing out on a significant chance to raise your credit score because your payment history accounts for 35% of your FICO score. Number 9. There's no such thing as a free checking account. You might find some no-cost or free options as you search for the best checking account. While some of those might seem alluring, others, like ATM use, check printing, and overdraft protection, might have high account minimums and unstated fees. Fortunately, when you open an account, banks are required to disclose any fees or charges. As a result, make sure you read all the requirements and are aware of any potential fees. Number 10. Banks can pay themselves back. By using funds from a checking or savings account to settle another debt you have with the same bank, banks are permitted to do so in accordance with the right of offset rule. For instance, if you have a checking account with the same bank and you missed a payment on an auto loan, they may be able to take money out of your checking account to bring you current on the loan. The agreement you sign when you open the account typically contains right of offset language, though the exact wording may differ from bank to bank. Number 11. Banks must notify you before they raise your interest rate. Credit card companies were once allowed to increase interest rates on outstanding balances when a late payment for an unrelated loan or account was reported to the credit bureaus. The 2009 Card Act, however, prohibited credit card issuers from increasing interest rates other than when an introductory period expires, if they are linked to another rate, or if a payment is more than 60 days overdue. In all other circumstances, credit card companies are required to give customers at least 45 days' notice before raising interest rates or making other changes. Number 12. Small business loans can be hard to get. When evaluating loan applications for small businesses, banks consider a number of factors. While there are many loan options available, it can be challenging to have a business loan approved. Your personal credit score, the length of time you've been in business, and your financial statements or tax returns can all have an impact on whether or not your loan application is approved. Depending on the type of financing you apply for, your chances might improve. Number 13. Online banks are a better choice for high-yield savings accounts. You might believe that keeping all of your accounts with the same bank will save you time and effort as you search for the best savings account. When comparing rates before opening a new account, keep in mind that online banks frequently offer higher APYs than conventional brick-and-mortar banks. Number 14. You should read the fine print. When applying for a new checking account or loan, many people skip right over the terms and conditions. However, you should always read and comprehend the small print. Due to the fact that disclosure statements are viewed as legal documents, it is crucial to understand what you are agreeing to before signing up. If something doesn't make sense after carefully reading the terms and conditions, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Over the course of your life, not understanding how your bank accounts function may end up costing you in the form of fees and missed interest income. Make sure you understand all of the account details, do your research, and ask questions so that you are prepared with the information. That brings us to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our new content. See you soon, and thanks for watching.